Since there was only one more version of WWF War Zone to cover, I figured I might as well get it over with, especially because now I can finally introduce Game Boy game reviews to the channel. This year we'll be introducing several platforms to get some more variety going. Anyways, this game is a mess, and let's just get it over with, and hopefully move on to better wrestling games to come, like WWF No Mercy, which I heard tons of good things about. WWF War Zone was developed by Crawfish Interactive and Probe Entertainment, then published by Acclaim in the year 1998 for Game Boy. It's a downgraded version of the home console release, missing several wrestlers, features, and more, plus the movesets are all the same between every wrestler outside of finishing moves. Welcome to the horrors of Game Boy and Acclaim published games.
You can feel it too!
The controls are clunky as to be expected for such a primitive handheld. You ever held a Game Boy or Color for that matter? It's not that comfortable. I always preferred the Game Boy Advance overall for comfort, so does a lot of other people, as they'll mod them to have backlit screens and rechargeable batteries. Anyways, back on topic of the game. You got A for punch, B for kick, and D-pad for movement, with select button is your finisher, if you could ever even pull one off. If you find yourself on the ground, it's a pain to get back up. I just keep on. In fact, the whole experience is just WWF Attitude on Game Boy Color, just with less stuff and worse graphics. It's good to see even on handhelds they just rehash the same game every year like on consoles for sports titles. Basically just mash buttons and hope to pull off any moves, but most of the time you won't, as your opponent will always get the upper hand during grapples. I, for the life of me, cannot pull off anything and just get tossed around like a schoolgirl at a ditty party. The roster comes with almost everyone from the PS1 and Nintendo 64 versions. For a handheld game, it's not that bad of a selection. You got Shawn Michaels, Kane, Ken Shamrock, Stone Cold, Farouk, Goldust, Triple H, Mankind, Owen Hart, The Rock, British Bulldog, Ahmed Johnson, and The Undertaker. That's 13 wrestlers. We're clearly missing the following, however, from the home consoles, such as Bret Hart, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, Mosh, and Thrasher. Yeah, I could care less, since the game itself isn't anything great, and everyone looks practically the same. I mean, look at Kane. That ain't Kane, that's generic wrestler John Wrestler. As for match types, you got challenge versus tag team and cage. Each one sucks and will end up the same with you getting wrecked within the first minute because the controls suck, the gameplay suck, you can't even kick out of a pin for some reason, it's just a shit game. Tag team has the same issue as usual with most of these shitty WWF games, the AI does nothing as I get pinned. Why is there a tag team option if my teammate won't do shit? The music in this game sucks and sounds basically like WWF Attitude on Game Boy Color. It's just terrible. Sounds more like a Nintendo game rather than a wrestling one. Where's the rocking tunes? Game Boy could produce something more besides Mario after all.
Oh yeah!
And with all that said, we've officially covered every version of WWF War Zone, from the PS1 to Nintendo 64 and finally Game Boy. Figured there'd be more platforms, but in a way I'm glad there isn't. I don't want to play Warzone anymore, especially on a system that's crap.
True that. Now that's true, Granddad.
At the end of the day, I cannot recommend WWF Warzone for Game Boy. It plays awful, the game is lackluster, and it's just a bad time all around. If you gotta play War Zone, do it on PlayStation 1, or just play anything else. The Game Boy is like the Atari 2600. Too primitive, clunky, and lackluster to be really all that worth going back to. But hey, at least I can say I reviewed every version of this game now. Next up, we'll look at the Atari 7800, and finally, No Mercy. Anyways, that's it for this video. See you all later.
Keep rolling, 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 rolling on.